Hello and thanks for watching my video. Today we're doing a guide looking at the first boss of Wing 1 in the first raid for Guild Wars 2, and this is going to be focusing on the mechanics of the Vale Guardian. So we're going to go through blow by blow and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two. So first mechanic we're going to be looking at are these blue teleportation circles. Now what happens, these spawn every 9 seconds. They do have a 2-second activation, much like the attacks that Subject Alpha does in the Crucible of Eternity raid, and you can dodge through them. So the important thing is when they spawn, wait 1 second and then dodge, otherwise you'll be teleported and suffer damage. This next one is something you should be aware of before you start. It's the person who has the highest toughness will aggro and pull the Vale Guardian around. So you should make sure you know who has the highest toughness in your group. Generally this can be an issue with inexperienced pug groups, so you want to make sure that you aren't going to be having much more toughness than the person who's supposed to be pulling around the Vale Guardian around the map. Probably the crucial thing about the entire raid is the green circles. These spawn every 15 seconds in a random location, and you've got 5 seconds to get 4 players into that green circle. Down players do not count. Now if you don't get the 4 players into that circle, your entire raid will suffer a big massive amount of damage, and so it's generally the biggest reason why the raids will fail is because not getting 4 people into that circle before it puts a load of damage on people. These Red Seeker circles, they spawn every 20 seconds. Generally they cause a substantial amount of damage, especially to elementalists, and it's ideal that you need to stay away from them, avoid getting hit by them, otherwise they will give you around 1,000 to 2,000 damage per second. The split phase, this happens every 33% and 66%. What will happen, the Vale Guardian will split into 3 bosses, and you will have 3 different bosses, much as you did prior to the Vale Guardian. Greens will spawn these blue teleport circles, the blue Guardian will need to be boon stripped, and the red Guardian can only be damaged by conditions. So this is what you should already have learned prior to starting this fight, and so it's just generally a repeat of what you've already learned. The Electrified Floor, now this happens after your first phase. You know, you've got after the first split phase and the second split phase, and this is where each segment, so a third of the floor, will actually be electrified. Now if you stand in that, you will take heavy damage, and so you really want to avoid that. You can see here I'm in there now, and I'm taking a pretty heavy damage, even, you know, for a tank, so you want to avoid being on that floor. Now this also gets even harder when you actually get the Vale Guardian down to 33% health, because then you'll have actually 2 of the segments of the entire floor that will be giving you damage. You can see here it's giving me 2,000 damage per second, and this is another example here. You can see when the boss goes down to 33%, you actually have 2 segments of the floor, and this is the point when it's very, very difficult for people to avoid taking damage, and you want to make sure that you're pretty prepared and you've got those healing skills that are able to make you survive if you do have to go into that segment that's going to be giving you damage. That's pretty much the basics. I just wanted to explain one of the main reasons why people fail. It's generally not getting 4 people into that green circle, and I did explain earlier that, you know, people failing because if you get downed when you're in the green circle, you don't count. And this is a point here. You can see that Vale Guardian went into this defiance phase where you have to break his defiance bar, and the problem was he was stationary. Now he wasn't pulled into the correct segment, so you can see there to the right hand side the green circle has spawned in an electrified section. This means the 4 people going into the green circle are going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage and are going to be needed to be healed up quite dramatically, and this is primarily a major reason for most of the raids failing, by people not moving the Vale Guardian fast enough and having people get downed or not reach those green circles in time. raids, PvP, legendary weapons, how to make gold in Guild Wars 2, and Maikai Talk. Please use these links below to help support my channel, and I'll keep producing content you enjoy.